Hey guys, this is Frozen Thing Studios here, and welcome back to another movie review. And today I am going to be doing a review on Heart of Stone. So, Heart of Stone is the latest Netflix action movie, like as in straight to Netflix action film, and is directed by Tom Harper and stars Gal Gadot, Alia Bhatt, Jamie Dorman, etc., and a bunch of B-list actors. Also, the lead star of Gran Turismo is in this playing a side character. But and So basically, the plot for Heart of Stone, it tells a story of this spy named Rachel Stone, played by Gal Gadot, who must who must help the CIA protect the heart, protect the heart, which the heart is like the most powerful AI weapon that can pretty much track any human being. And with that, Stone teams up with a bunch of CIA who she doesn't know very well, and there can be like dark secrets around them. As they must try to stop this young hacker named Kia Dawan, played by Alia Bhatt, from trying to steal the Heart of Stone. So yeah, so I think you guys remember how hyped I was for this, especially like after seeing that trailer and doing that trailer reaction video. I was like raving about this movie, like from the trailers. I was like sharing my hype, and this was my most anticipated movie of August. Well, until later on when I put Blue Beetle back as my most anticipated movie of August, and it still kind of feels like my most anticipated movie of August. Yeah. And yeah, I was hyped for this one. Yeah, for many reasons. First of all, I am a massive fan of Gal Gadot. She is in my top 10 favorite actress of all time. I don't know if I'll do my top 10 favorite actresses list, but if I did, I would personally put Gal Gadot tied with Margot Robbie in a certain spot, a little lower in the list because there are other actresses I'm more passionate about, but Gal Gadot would certainly be right there. Yeah, she is. I can see why a lot of people have a crush on her, including me. I think she is hot, and yeah, and I especially adore her. Got a lot of her roles, like Wonder Woman being Gal Gadot's a definitive role for me. I mean, there is no way. There is no way. No way though. Any other actresses could top her. Ana de Armas, I guess, but like even Ana de Armas herself confirmed that she's not going to play Wonder Woman. So that sucks. But yeah, I'm sure you know that there's reports that Gal Gadot was going to be returning to as Wonder Woman in Wonder Woman 3 in James Gunn DCU, but then later on was confirmed it's actually not happening. Well, I don't believe that, honestly. I still believe that they could still like push through with Wonder Woman 3, or at least a Wonder Woman reboot with Gal Gadot still being cast yet. I'm gonna talk more about James Gunn's DCU soon because I got a lot of things to say about that. But let's focus on Rose here. I also love her as Giselle in Fast and Furious. Giselle is to me the best character in Fast and Furious, no doubt about it, and no no doubt about it. And she was also in and I also loved her playing the main antagonist as Sarah Black in Red Notice. Even though Red Notice was not great, it was a guilty pleasure movie. Yeah, and also Alia Bhatt as well. Like she was also like another actress I'm more happy to see, as Alia Bhatt is my favorite Indian celebrity, like especially when she was in RRR and R, which I absolutely adore, and Brahmastra Point Shiva, which I saw for the first time recently on Disney Plus, and I think it's underrated. Yeah, one of the most underrated movies of last year. It's not perfect, sure. There's some like cringy moments here and there, but it's kind of slow, but it's actually really good, and I highly recommend that. It's on Disney Plus. That's actually the reason why I decided to watch that movie. And now she is making her debut into Hollywood. Into Hollywood in this film in particular, and yeah. And if you know me so well, you know that I'm actually personally a defender of these Netflix action movies. most of the Netflix action movies, I gave them positive reviews. Yeah, I gave Red Notice a positive review, and I gave last year's The Gray Man a positive review, and this one as well, like the latest one, I actually kind of saw coming that critics are not gonna like this movie because they hate that these Netflix action movies. I don't know why these ones get too much hate. Like they should know that these Netflix action movies that they don't have the same big budget as the action the films like Mission Impossible or Bond or those big action movies or even John Wick. So you can't really expect that you can't expect these Netflix action movies to be on the same level as those beloved action franchises. You can't expect that. At least have fun with it and trying to let the lower budget affect your thoughts. Oh yeah, I also forgot to mention ex- extraction the extraction movies, which yeah, they're like the only Netflix action movies that actually are decently received, like positive received. Particularly Extraction 2. The first one got average mixed reviews, but Extraction 2 got really pretty damn decently positive reviews. And I like Extraction 2. In fact, I kind of loved it. Almost gave it a perfect score, but just one thing that's bugged it down to me. So yeah. So yeah. And yeah, but sadly though, Heart of Stone received I kid you not, 30% on Rotten Tomatoes. Really? 30%? That is like on par with Meg 2, which is the worst action movie I've ever seen. Yeah, Meg 2, the trash. Yeah, that movie deserves all the hate it gets. I still think it's the worst movie this month. No competition. And also, I think it actually might be now the worst. Meg 2 might now be the worst movie this summer, even though it's not really counted because I saw it like in school. But yeah, Meg 2 The Trench. Yeah, it's now officially my least favorite movie of the summer, if you count it. But to me, I don't really. But yeah, but yeah, thankfully, a week after Meg to the Trash, we got a much better action movie. Cause I gotta say, I loved Heart of Stone. I think this movie was worth the hype, and this is arguably my favorite. This might straight up be my favorite Netflix action movie, or at least one of them. I'm not sure if there's another Netflix action movie that I liked better. I have to look into it. But yeah, right now I think Heart of Stone is my favorite Netflix action movie, and I love this movie. Yeah, it was just so good, and this is certainly like one of the most underrated movies of the year. I'd say it's my third most underrated movie of the year so far. Ant-Man the Wasp: Quantumania and Shazam: Fear of the Gods are more underrated to me because I just love them more. And I just love them more. And I'm not gonna change my thoughts on it. This one, maybe I could change my thoughts on it later on, but right now this is just me overhyping the movie. I don't know, but I hope not. I hope I'll keep my rating that way. But yeah, Heart of Stone is great, man. Yeah, Heart of Stone is great. Yeah, and yeah, so now let's get into the reasons as to why I love this movie. Do I have any criticism with the film though? You will see later on, but right now I want to like give out everything I love about this movie. First and for all, action is my favorite genre. Y'all know that, and I love the spy genre, especially with the Bond and Mission Impossible franchises. They're both like two elite level action franchises. I'm still more of a Bond fan I'm still more of a Bond fan than a Mission Impossible fan. But yeah, the best way to describe this movie, imagine a Bond movie that is but centered on a female, like as in it's a female Bond movie. That is basically Heart of Stone. Yeah, I mean, people wondering if ever they're gonna make a female-led Bond movie. Well, this movie is like the answer to that. Yeah, it's basically Wonder Woman meets Bond. Wonder Woman mainly because Gal Gadot, Gal Gadot kind of uses his Wonder Woman badassery skills at times. And by the way, I'm actually starting to think about the more I think about it, I'm starting to think about putting Wonder Woman as my new favorite DCEU movie. But then again, But then again, I probably need to rewatch it. I will decide on that on December when I do my DCU rewatches leading up to Aquaman. And I mean like the ones I haven't yet to review, which is like Batman versus Superman, Suicide Squad 2016, Wonder Woman, Justice League. The first Aquaman movie, which is probably gonna be the last one. I'm gonna be reviewing in preparation for the second film. Shazam. I reviewed the first film. Birds of Prey, Wonder Woman, Wonder Woman 1984, which is the most underrated Gal Gadot movie in my opinion, even though it's not perfect. Um, and and also the Suicide Squad, of course, yeah. And yeah, those movies. So yeah, you look at to see if Wonder Woman is my favorite DCU movie or not. But I'm starting to rethink about Matthew as well. Not that I'm gonna like dislike it, but because I just have some complaints about the Henry Cavill Superman fandom. But I'm starting to think about putting it away from making it leave my top 10 favorite movie, top 100 favorite movies. But then again, that'll be discussed on another time. That'll be discussed, on another time. Yeah. But right now, let's focus on this movie in particular, Hearthstone. Yeah, yeah. Basically, Wonder Woman meets Bond. Yeah, that is the best. Yeah. And also this movie has the typical Bond formula. Yeah, I know like we got a few of these Bond parodies, like movies that tries to these big budget movies that try to parody Bond and sound like low quality like garbage like that. Like I don't remember anything else, but the only previous Bond parody movie that I remember, like big budget Bond parody movie that I remember was Spice in Disguise, which is my favorite Blue Sky movie, unless if you count Nimona as a Blue Sky movie. To me personally, I personally count Nimona as a Blue Sky movie because a lot of Blue Sky's work was completed there. Like a lot of Blue Sky's work was included in the movie, and Netflix just finished it for them. So yeah, Nimona is my favorite Blue Sky movie by a landslide. But if you don't count Nimona as a Blue Sky movie, Spice in Disguise would be my favorite Blue Sky movie. But I think Heart of Stone is the better one of these two. It's actually as good as it's actually better than a lot of the other Bond movies. No, yes, yes, it's not as good as the four elite level Daniel Craig Bond movies. You know which ones I'm talking about. And also some others, some of the Sean Connery Bond movies. But Heart of Stone is yeah. But I would say that Heart of Stone is better than all the the Georgia Lazenby and Georgia Lazenby and Timothy Dalton Bond movies, and it's better than the vast majority of the Pierce Brosnan and Roger Moore Bond films. Well, with the exception of GoldenEye and The Spy Who Loved Me, those are better than this film, I think. But yeah, this movie feels like a love letter to Netflix. Is a love letter to Bond fans and spy fans in general, and I love that. Yeah, I know people are saying that spy films have become generic nowadays because if it's not Mission Impossible or Bond or any big franchise, then automatic bad review. But that's not how it works, guys. Don't just say a movie's bad just because it's not Bond or Mission Impossible. It's this movie is trying to be its own thing, and that's what I admire about this movie is that it's just trying to be its own thing. It's not trying to go big and just try to be Bond. It's just its own. So I appreciate this movie for being that. And yeah, what else? And yeah, and even on its own, yeah. Oh yeah. Also, this movie has an opening credits theme song. Like the Bond films. Like how the Bond films every Bond film would have an an action scene prologue and then proceeds with a song, a theme song with the opening. Well, Heart of Stone had that, yeah. Spice in Disguise also had that with the Freak of Nature song. I'm a freak of nature, yeah, that song. Yeah, it's basically this movie. It's like that with this movie. This movie, yeah, this movie did that as well. And I gotta say, I love the song. I love the song. I love that they even got an Israeli singer to perform it, as you know the movies had this movie's lead is an Israeli, and I love that idea. That is a brilliant, and that song is great. Better than a certain crappy song later on the film, which I will talk. I'll get to later on. But yeah, and yeah, this movie, and even on its own, this movie is just so much fun. It's packed with action scenes. It's packed with action. Yeah, there's like so many action, and they run for like really long. You got the opening, the 20 minutes action scene with Gal Gadot trying to stop this mercenary that we don't know much about from trying to steal the Heart of Stone. Like they think like he's the one behind it, but actually but then later it was revealed that it was actually Kate Dowan who's behind it. Behind it. And yeah. And then we see like Gal Gadot like trying to chase after that guy while Parker is like confronting the mercenary, and then we see like Gal Gadot just running towards the snow slopes, and then sorry about the sneeze, but hold up. All right, I don't know, but back to what I was saying. And we see like Gal Gadot running in the mountains, like grabbing a parachute and just glide like badassly gliding it, and then and then land and then like landing directly at the people like trying to shoot Parker, and my God, that was badass. That's probably my favorite scene in the film. You also got this epic car chase scene. This first it starts off with this house brawl where we get to see more of a Gal Gadot being a badass. And she uses a lot of her Wonder Woman skills, and she uses a lot of her Wonder Woman skills to kick the crap out of them, and I was like cheering for her. I was like, whoa, like badass. Yeah, and then we get this van chase scene like this, and there's like some great practical stunts too. We see like these cars, a lot of cars flipping, and I'm glad it's not CGI. It's actually used practically, and I love that. Yeah, Netflix really knows how to use practical effects and not overuse as CGI, and I love that. And then we also got another action scene later on, like at the hot air balloon, which is probably the weakest one action scene, which I like it. And then we got this really intense and suspenseful final battle, and yeah, I love that. The performances are really good. Are really good. I mean, Jamie Dornan, like this is. I mean, I would say right now, I hate Jamie Dornan as an actor. I think he is a terrible actor. I mean, especially with two films in particular, one franchise and one just a solo movie, like him playing Christian Grey in the 50 Shades trilogy, who like one of the most abusive. Love one of the most abusive character, one of the most unlikable protagonists you'll ever see on film, and both him and Dakota Johnson's Christian and Anastasia, besides Bobby and Branch, they are the worst movie couple. They are just extremely hateable to the guts, and Christian Grey is just super unlikable, and Jamie Dornan gave us such a crappy performance. And he also played a side character in my worst movie of all time, Trolls World Tour. Thank God he's not Trolls Band Together, which I think could be even worse. But they think could be even worse. But yeah, Trolls Trash World Tour. Yeah, Jamie Dornan was in the film. Yeah, can you imagine an actor who's like in both 50 Shades and Trolls in a freaking Trolls movie? All like oh my God, that is like a career too, like Lolo. But this movie is actually kind of redeemed the Jamie Dornan. It doesn't change the fact that I like him, that I don't like him. It doesn't change that, but I will say this: this is by far and away his best performance, and I loved him. Yeah, he gave such a great performance, and I actually cared about his character. But the two standouts of this movie to me, no doubt, Gal Gadot and Alia Bhatt. Yeah, both great ones. I can't decide who I like better. Maybe I'd give the slight edge to Gal Gadot's Rachel Stone because I'm more of a Gal Gadot fan than an Alia Bhatt fan. But Alia Bhatt, well, I would say I think this is her best performance. Well, this one it's not really Gal Gadot's best because Wonder Woman and Giselle, but I mean, I loved her. Probably more than Red Notice, but I'll think about that. But yeah, Aaliyah Batman, like she really crushed it as her Hollywood debut. Coming from a bunch of foreign language film, yeah, it's just so great. And I wish more foreign actors would make their debut as yeah. I wish more of them would make their debut on Hollywood. I love to see more of that and more of that. And Kid Dawan is one of my favorite villains of the year. Well, is he really a villain though? We'll find out later on as I now talk about the plot of the movie, the story. How I praise the action, the characters, but you always gonna consider the story. Now, how is the story for this movie? It's probably the weakest link of the film, but it's still a really good story. I mean, I love that it's a Bond-like story. Yeah, I mean, don't expect the originality to this film, but if you're not going to this film expecting pure originality, then you're pretty much off to pretty much like this movie. I think the story is really good. I love that it tries to use the Bond formula while not trying way too hard to be Bond. Yeah, you can tell that this movie is not trying to take itself way too seriously and just wants to have fun and just it wants to be like Bond without ripping off Bond, and it just wants to have fun. It just the movie is very self-aware that it's copying Bond, but it's not doing it in a way that just rips off Bond, and I love that idea. And yeah, I love that decision that is pretty much how you do it right there. Yeah, yeah, great choices. Yeah, and also, but probably my favorite thing about the writing, one thing I absolutely love about the writing is that there is a big major plot twist. Yeah, yeah, there is a plot twist in this movie. Yeah, the plot. Yeah, I don't think you guys are gonna watch it. I don't think a lot of you guys are gonna watch it anyway. So I'll probably just say what the plot twist is. But if you don't want spoilers, then just pretty much watch the movie first before clicking this video because I highly recommend it. So the plot twist is that Jamie Dorman's character Parker is actually the real villain of the movie, not Kia Dawan like what was marketed in the trailers. Yeah, Jamie is actually the one behind. Jamie is actually the one behind the whole mission to steal the heart. Like it was actually him this whole time, and he's actually pretty much the mastermind behind all this, and he pretty much works with Rachel, but it was revealed later on that but Rachel doesn't even know much about Parker. But turns out that Parker just kills half of the team and just attempts to kill Rachel, and it's actually working with Kia. But actually he's taking control of Kia, and he pretty much takes full control of Kia, even though he's supposed to be working for Kia, and that results for Kia Dawan to redeem her, to have a redemption arc. And yes, Kia does redeem herself at the end, and Kia does redeem herself at the end of the movie by how do I say this? Yeah, she redeems herself at the end eventually, and I mean, she redeems herself at the end by teaming up with Rachel, and we get this awesome final battle with Rachel and Kia versus Parker. Great action, and Parker is actually a great villain. Like he's actually he actually does feel like a real threat, and he's he's so hateable, but in the right ways, because a villain is supposed to be hateable. And I love that they revealed. I love the idea of revealing him as the twist villain early on in the film, so that the movie can take its time to build upon his villain arc. Yeah. Now, I said that earlier. I do have one small nitpick with the film. To be honest, guys, I couldn't really find any other flaws. I tried to find flaws that I can count as flaws, but I couldn't really find any. But if there's one thing I would say is I did not like one small scene in the film. There's one scene that got me rolling my eyes. And you know what it is? Yep, they played a Lizzo song, like pretty much Juice by Lizzo. That's actually the only Lizzo song I've heard. I think from anything. But yeah, Juice by Lizzo. Oh my god, that song is annoying. I hate that. And there's this scene where, like, the like Rachel Stone's quote unquote teammates were actually dancing to that Lizzo song, and I was like, oh, why Lizzo? Like, I was like, oh my god, shut up! Like, seriously, why Lizzo? Honestly, yeah, I'm sure we've all heard about the controversy about Lizzo's the Lizzo controversy and backlash. To be honest, guys, I think she deserves all the backlash because she is just rude. She's just rude and cringe. Like, and she even like fat shamed her workers, saying that, oh, I want my co-workers to be fat. Excuse me, but that is just rude. I mean, just because you're fat doesn't mean that you should like try to fight. Doesn't mean you should like go force all the people make all the people around you fat too. That is just shameful. And Lizzo should be ashamed of herself. Yeah, she is. And yeah, also I think her cameo in Mandalorian season 3 sucks. Yeah, that's actually why I think Mandalorian season 3 is the weakest season of the show, because of her. Yeah, because of her cameo. Jack Black, I was fine with his cameo, but Lizzo, oh god, yeah, Lizzo is cringe. Yeah, she is the worst female singer nowadays. I don't know if I'll say she's the worst singer, but arguably. But we'll see about that. Yeah, who agrees Haley Steinfeld is a way better singer than Lizzo? Yeah. But yeah, pretty much that's the only nitpick I have. Just one thing I didn't like, but that's just a small thing and didn't really affect anything in the plot. So overall, Heart of Stone is without question one of the most underrated movies of the year so far. It's not a movie that's meant to take itself seriously, and it's just a movie that tries to be Bond, but stands on its own. And it's a harmless action movie. Yes, guys, I think this movie is harmless, and this movie is harmless, and I couldn't really find much to criticize about it. And this movie made me love Gal Gadot even more now. Yeah, Gal Gadot is amazing. And Alia Bhatt just crushes it as her Hollywood debut, coming from foreign language films. So with that said, I'm gonna give Heart of Stone a low 10 out of 10. Yeah, a low tier. Will I change my rating to a 9 out of 10 or at least a 9? Well, we'll see about that. But right now, low 10 is where I go. I doubt it'll make my top 10 favorite movies of the year at the end of the year, but surely it'll still be recognized for being an underrated film. So also from my review of Heart of Stone, what is your opinion on this movie? Do you agree with me that this movie is underrated, or do you agree with the haters that this movie is not for you? Comment down below, like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and stay tuned for my trailer reaction to The Continental, the new John Wick spin-off show. Bye, guys.